Dirk Nowitzki just recently spoke out about the Luka Doncic trade. So I just want to read a few things he just said recently. This is from Friday, in which he said these statements. I think I was as shocked and surprised as anyone was. I really couldn't believe it. Nowitzki told 96.7 the ticket in Dallas on Friday of his reaction to learning of the trade. Of course, I felt a little disappointed and sad for him. I think he obviously didn't see this coming, Nowitzki said. So he invited me to come out to his first game in LA, and I felt like I had to support him. I think he was. It was reported that he was pretty down and disappointed in how it went down. And so I wanted to be there for him. I wanted to be there for his family. I'm sure he wanted to finish his career like I did. This is Dirk Nowitzki just talking about his frustration about Doncic getting traded. He says that he was a little disappointed, and he felt for Doncic. He felt hurt for him and whatnot. I think Dirk is like masking his huge frustration with this trade. I think he's more frustrated than he let on, because you can see it in his face during some of these interviews when it's brought up, just a Luka Doncic trade, and just seeing him at the Lakers game when Luka first played for the Lakers. You could see the look of just sadness, shock, and frustration. That I just said, like, how was this even possible? How could this even happen? Just this does not make any sense. Just I think Dirk felt, in some ways, his legacy was also insulted by the Mavericks trading Luka Doncic. Dirk was the ultimate team guy for the Mavericks. To me, the sacrifices he made for the Dallas Mavericks is very similar to what I saw Tim Duncan do for the Spurs. The way Duncan would sacrifice and take a little bit less money so the Spurs could get better players around him and just increase their chances of winning with him. He would make those sacrifices even towards the end of his career. He took a huge pay cut to allow LaMarcus Aldridge to be on the team just so it would give them a chance to win. And I think Dirk was very similar in that. And the Mavs actually didn't really reward him the same way the Spurs rewarded Tim Duncan by putting good teams around him consistently and just going out to do that. I think the Mavericks really did shortcut him after they won that 2011 championship. And after that, they never really gave him a good team to finish out his career with. He was able to go to the playoffs a few times afterwards, but he was pretty much playing on mediocre Maverick teams. I think after that championship run in 2011, just those teams never had a shot at winning a title. He was able to get, like I said, he was able to get them to the playoffs like several times, but they were never a threat to do anything. But he was more than happy to make the sacrifice of the team, just for the culture, to be that iconic player that represented the Mavs for over 20 years. I think his goal really was to play for like 20 years and just have that legacy. But I remember just hearing in interviews previously, even prior to the Luka trade, in which he talked about during his last few years, he sacrificed just so the Mavericks could eventually get the next superstar. Even when they were losing, he wanted to be out there with them, to be part of that journey to get the next Maverick superstar. And when they got Luka Doncic, he decided to play another year, even though he was putting his body through a lot of wear and tear. He knew he would feel later on throughout his life that it was going to affect him physically. Even though Dirk is in great shape, I've heard him talk about how he definitely does feel the pain on his body at times from playing all those years in his career, for playing over 20 some years into his 40s. And now he feels the side effects of it when he can't do certain things with his kids due to some of the pain he feels and whatnot. But he felt it was still worth it because he was able to play 20 years and then just play his final year with the Mavericks' next superstar in Doncic. That's what he said in previous interviews. So I'm sure this really bothers him, because he's probably thinking part of his sacrifice towards the end of his career wasn't really even worth it now, because the Mavericks got rid of Doncic, the guy that he believed was going to be the next superstar for the Mavs, a guy he believed he passed the torch to be that guy. I think Dirk took a lot of pride in that, passing that torch to Doncic, and he wanted to enjoy Luka's career and see him win in Dallas and bring a title there. I remember just him saying in interviews that how fun it was to play with Luka during his rookie year, despite all the pain physically he would deal with later on after his career was over, and that he felt it was worth it, and just he was looking forward to Luka having a very long career with them. So I think they pretty much spit in Dirk's face by trading Luka in that regard. Just that probably really does bother him. I'm sure he's thinking about it a lot now. Like, damn, I wasted a few years so the Mavericks could get this guy, and at the end, it really wasn't worth it. Just they stupidly got rid of just the next great Maverick, a guy possibly that might have as good of a legacy as myself. I think that's what he was thinking. So it really does probably frustrate him, and behind closed doors, I think he's probably disgusted with it, but he doesn't want to say anything outside because he doesn't want to ruffle the feathers within this organization. But yeah, he is very frustrated. I think he echoes the sentiments that all of Mavs fan nation has just about this trade. Just one of the dumbest trades in NBA history. Just that's the way I look at it. Granted, maybe it'll change if Luka suddenly never gets in shape again and he's just a fat slob forever. I think that's the only hope the Maverick fans have, that they can be salvaged from doing this bad trade, that Luka just fails miserably. And there's a chance it could happen, but I think even Luka will eventually get it together, and there'll be extreme regrets about doing this trade. But that's all I had to say.